All right, you savvy news hounds, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're plunging headfirst into, well, the wonderfully wild world of Virginia politics.
Mm-hmm.
It's a scene our source, District Drama, pretty aptly describes as a flat-out political soap opera. So yeah, buckle up.
It sounds like it. The drama is definitely turned up high right now.
Totally.
And the spotlight is firmly on John Reid, the Republican nominee for lieutenant governor.
Right.
So our mission today, I guess, is to really dissect this unfolding situation around him. We want to try and understand the core of these allegations, you know?
What's actually being claimed.
Exactly. And the ripples they're creating, and maybe what it all means for LGBTQ plus visibility, especially within conservative politics.
Precisely. And for this expedition into the news, we're using District Drama's coverage as our guide. They seem to have a good handle on it.
They usually do.
Now, before we get our hands dirty, let's just remember the context here. John Reid's nomination was, well, it was a pretty big deal.
Huge deal. First openly gay statewide nominee from a major party in Virginia. That's history.
Right. History trying to happen. So, okay, with that in mind, let's see what's making the headlines pop. What's the first juicy bit?
Well, it all seems to have kicked off with what District Drama is calling the Tumblr tangle.
The Tumblr tangle. I love it. Sounds like, I don't know, a particularly messy plot point in some teen drama.
Yeah, maybe.
So lay it on us. What's the tangle?
Okay, so apparently Republican opposition researchers, you know, the folks whose job it is to dig up dirt.
The Oppo guys, yeah.
Right. They reportedly unearthed a Tumblr account. And this account was brimming with sexually explicit reposts.
Reposts.
The alleged connection to Reid, a matching username. Apparently it matched usernames he used on other online profiles.
Ah, the classic digital breadcrumb trail. But hold on a sec. The key detail here, like you said, and as District Drama points out, these were reposted images.
Crucial distinction.
So not exactly, you know, snaps from Reid's personal photo album, and adding a real twist of intrigue, this Tumblr account. Yeah.
And a related account on X, formerly Twitter, suddenly gone. Poof. Vanished.
Which does raise eyebrows, doesn't it? A bit convenient, maybe?
Or maybe just cleaning house. Who knows?
True. Then, adding another layer to this already spicy narrative, the Virginia Christian Alliance stepped into the frame.
Okay, VCA. What did they do?
They started circulating screenshots. These showed Reid tipping a drag performer.
Right.
Hanging out with his partner, who was wearing apparently a pretty cheeky liberal in the bedroom shirt.
Oh, my.
And just generally, you know, enjoying the company of drag queens at an event.
Okay, so pictures of a person living their life, arguably. But what was the VCA's take on these rather lively pictures?
Well, District Drama quotes their assessment directly. They called them spiritually offensive and a direct mockery of biblical values.
Wow. Okay, so framing it very much within a specific moral and religious lens.
Exactly, a very specific framing.
Right. Now, Reid isn't exactly taking this lying down, I assume. No, not at all. He's strongly denying any link, any connection whatsoever to this phantom Tumblr account. He's calling the whole thing a fabricated smear campaign.
A smear campaign designed to do what? Derail his candidacy.
That's his claim. Yeah, aimed at derailing his candidacy. He's even stated quite clearly, quote, I haven't publicly performed or publicly posted anything pornographic.
Okay, so a direct denial of the most explicit part.
And going a step further, Reid also claims he's been on the receiving end of threats.
Threats? From who?
He says from a local religious activist. The alleged demand: withdraw from the race or face the release of, quote, life-destroying photos.
Life-destroying photos? Wow, this is escalating. It's all getting rather dramatic.
It really is.
Which brings us, I suppose, to the central question District Drama poses. Is this a legitimate concern being raised about a candidate's judgment or past, or is it a politically motivated hit job? Specifically targeting a candidate who's already breaking barriers just by being on the ticket. The murky evidence and rapid escalation certainly make it feel like we're watching some high-stakes political theater unfold.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of high stakes and drama, let's talk about Governor Glenn Youngkin stepping in.
Ah, yes, Youngkin's move. District Drama paints it as a real power play. What happened there?
Well, from what's being reported, Youngkin personally contacted Reid and just flat out demanded he withdraw from the race.
Demanded. Just like that.
Just like that. Reportedly, no evidence presented, no chance for Reid to really defend himself or respond to specifics, just a direct ultimatum. Talk about a mic drop moment.
Wow, okay. And Reid's response, I can't imagine he said, okay.
Oh, definitely not. His response was equally theatrical, you could say. He didn't just quietly step aside. He released this fiery video on social media.
Oh, I think I saw that. What did he say?
He directly accused Youngkin's team of extortion.
Extortion. Okay, now that's a word that really grabs your attention. What's the basis for that accusation? That's serious.
It is. Reid claims there were explicit promises made. Like, if he agreed to withdraw, the attacks, the opposition research, it would all just stop.
Okay.
But if he stayed in the race, then the opposition research machine would crank into high gear, digging even deeper for potentially damaging stuff.
So a quid pro quo, essentially. Drop out and we stop, stay in and we escalate.
That's the allegation. District Drama quotes Reid's pretty strong statement. This is extortion, and it is illegal in Virginia. And he's made it clear he intends to explore legal avenues.
So this isn't just a polite disagreement within the party. This is a full-blown political brawl potentially heading to the courtroom.
It looks that way. Yeah, it's way beyond a simple disagreement.
This whole episode, it really throws into sharp relief some potential fault lines within the Virginia GOP, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, Reid's candidacy itself was already a bold step, right? Mm-hmm. For a party that hasn't always been seen as the warmest towards LGBTQ plus candidates.
Yeah, exactly. So Youngkin's seemingly forceful action here, it could alienate more moderate Republicans, maybe younger voters who might see it as unfair or heavy-handed.
That's the risk on one side. But on the flip side, it could energize the more conservative wing of the party, the ones who prioritize those traditional social values we mentioned earlier.
It's a really risky tightrope walk, isn't it? With potentially significant repercussions for the GOP's future appeal, how they're perceived.
Definitely a high-wire act.
Yeah.
So maybe let's broaden our view now and consider the bigger picture here. The experience of LGBTQ plus individuals, specifically within the Republican Party.
Yeah, because Reid's historic candidacy sits right at the heart of this discussion.
It does. And, District Drama references a 2020 report from the Waynes Institute. It found that around 15% of registered LGBT voters actually identify as Republican.
15%. That's not insignificant. It's a reminder that the LGBTQ plus community isn't, a monolithic voting bloc. Priorities can vary quite a bit.
Precisely. Their focus might sometimes be more on, say, economic issues or national security, rather than solely on LGBTQ plus rights advocacy.
Sure.
However, as this Reid situation seems to underscore, acceptance within the Republican Party isn't always consistent or guaranteed.
Right. You see some progress, maybe. The article notes people like Carl DeMaio running, the Log Cabin Republicans getting some recognition in California.
Yeah, there are examples of progress. But then events like this happen and it raises serious questions again about genuine inclusion versus tolerance, maybe.
And Reid himself seems to believe his sexual orientation is a key factor in these attacks. He's suggesting a potential double standard, right?
Seems to be his perspective, yes. Are LGBTQ plus candidates held to a different, perhaps more unforgiving level of scrutiny? It certainly feels like that could be the case here.
It's a valid question to ask.
And District Drama draws I think, a pretty compelling parallel here. They liken Reid's current defiance, his refusal to back down, to the spirit of Harvey Milk.
Oh, interesting. Harvey Milk in California, first openly gay elected official there, faced incredible opposition.
Exactly. Showed incredible resilience. Now, whether Reid's story will have a similar kind of impact, well, that remains to be seen. But his determination certainly echoes Milk's.
It's a powerful comparison. Now, to give us even more context, District Drama also brings up, remember the Senate twink scandal?
Oh, right, from last year. Aiden Mazur-Chorovsky.
Yeah. Quite a different scenario, obviously, but it also involved a public figure, personal conduct, sexual orientation playing a role in the narrative.
Definitely parallels in the discourse around it. That involved a video, remember? It surfaced showing Mazur-Chorovsky, who was a Senate staffer.
Democratic staffer, yeah.
Engaged in sexual activity, actually in a Senate hearing room, which understandably led to his swift termination.
Right. Very different facts on the ground. And the framing of that situation, especially in right-wing media, often leaned heavily into themes of, moral decay.
Very much so. Well, Mazur-Chorovsky himself suggested he was targeted, at least in part because of his sexual orientation.
So District Drama provides a useful comparison table. Maybe we can break that down a bit conversationally.
Yeah, let's do that. So first, the nature of the allegation. In Reid's case, it's these explicit Tumblr reposts and the drag show photos. Stuff he denies a direct link to, or frames differently.
Right. Disputed connection, reposts. In the Senate Twink case, it was a direct video of actual sexual activity in a specific, very public place. Much more direct.
Much more direct than the evidence itself. For Reid, it's, as we said, disputed. There are these now deleted accounts. The images don't even feature him directly. It's murky.
Very murky. For Max Jarofsky, there was clear video evidence, not much ambiguity there.
No ambiguity about the act itself, yeah. Then, the responses. Starkly contrasting.
Totally. Reid is standing his ground, fighting back, accusing the governor's team of extortion, refusing to withdraw, staying in the race.
Right. Mazy Jarofsky. Quickly fired. Left the U.S. reportedly. Faced significant personal fallout, threats, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Very different outcome.
And finally, the political context, which is crucial. Reid is a Republican candidate facing intense internal party pressure.
Internal GOP pressure, yeah. Whereas Mazy Jarofsky was a Democratic staffer. The issue was handled more or less internally within the Democratic Party structure and Senate staff protocols, not a public nomination fight.
So the key difference really seems to be, one, the lack of concrete direct evidence against Reid.
Yeah, that's huge.
And two, the fact that he's a candidate, a nominee, which just significantly raises the stakes and the public visibility.
Absolutely. And the differing responses from within the respective parties, Youngkin's demand versus the internal handling of the staffer situation, are quite telling about party dynamics, perhaps.
Definitely tells you something. Now, district drama, always keeping an eye on the dramatic elements.
Yeah.
He even throws in some fun pop culture comparisons, which, given the soap opera description, kind of fits.
Okay, like what?
They see echoes of House of Cards in the power plays. Youngkin's move, the alleged extortion.
Okay, I can see that.
Maybe a bit of RuPaul's Drag Race and the unapologetic vibes of some involved. Perhaps the drag show photos.
All right, a bit of a stretch maybe, but fun.
Scandal and the potential need for serious crisis management. And maybe even a touch of Mean Girls in the potential for internal GOP drama and backstabbing.
Okay, Mean Girls, that's quite the comparison for the Virginia GOP.
Hey, just reporting what the source suggested, and of course that Harvey Milk comparison keeps popping up for Reid's defiance. It's certainly a story with all the twists and turns.
Absolutely, it reads like fiction sometimes. But as district drama stresses, this is far more than just political gossip or, tabloid fodder.
Right. It feels weightier than that.
It really is. It's being framed as a real test for the Republican Party. Will they demonstrate a willingness to embrace a broader range of candidates, including LGBTQ+ individuals? Or will they perhaps double down on a more traditional and potentially exclusionary path?
And with Reid refusing to back down, digging in his heels, this is a story that's just set to continue unfolding. It's not over.
Not by a long shot. It's likely going to influence voters, you'd think, as they head towards that primary on June 17th, 2025.
And it serves as a pretty stark reminder, doesn't it, about the enduring nature of our digital footprints, especially in politics today.
Oh, definitely. What might seem like a fleeting online moment, a repost, a photo, can very quickly become headline news and potentially reshape a whole political career.
For better or worse.
So just to kind of bring it all together, we've navigated the allegations surrounding John Reid, this really unprecedented demand for his withdrawal by Governor Youngkin.
Yeah, the extortion claims.
Reid's forceful accusations in response, the broader implications for LGBTQ+ Republicans trying to find a place in the party, and those illuminating parallels with the Senate Twink scandal.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tangled web.
It really is. And the big question marks remain, don't they? Like, how will this saga ultimately impact the upcoming primary? What are the lasting consequences going to be for the Virginia GOP's image?
And its ability maybe to attract a diverse field of candidates and voters in the future. These are huge open questions.
Huge.
Indeed. And as we've kind of delved into this Virginia political drama, it really prompts you to consider, doesn't it? In a world where, like we said, every online interaction can potentially become tomorrow's headline.
Yeah.
What does that truly signify for who gets a seat at the table in our political landscape?
Right.
And maybe what level of scrutiny should we as citizens expect or even demand from those who aspire to lead us?
That's a great point. Where is the line between relevant scrutiny and, a digital witch hunt?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's definitely food for thought. If you're keen to explore this further, to keep a close watch on the news outlets covering Virginia politics, it's bound to keep developing.
Absolutely. And maybe take some time to reflect on those larger issues of representation, privacy, and the often unseen currents of political strategy.
Well said. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. We'll catch you next time.